Pilgrimage Advocates, the 6th of June, 2025. Henceforth, the servant proclaimed, no one will receive any money from pilgrims going to do Hajj. Muslims will all be able to do Hajj free of charge, and everyone will have adequate lodgings and similar lodgings for the duration of their pilgrimage. Then the broadcast stopped, leaving everyone in the restaurant murmuring to themselves. A man cried out with a loud voice, "What? This is very unreasonable." His friend replied, "Why is it unreasonable? All Muslims should be able to do Hajj once in their lifetime. It is not unreasonable." The man said, "How would those who provide these services to the pilgrims be able to live if they are not getting paid?" His friend replied, "Who said anything about them not getting paid? He said that those who want to go on Hajj will not have to pay anything for it. He did not speak about anyone else." The man replied, "I think he did not see it through well enough. Hotels will have to be paid for. Cars will need to be paid for. Food trucks, restaurants like this one we are in, and all other services that the pilgrims will need to use. Even lavatories need to be maintained, and their cleaners will need to get paid." His friend said, "Maybe he has a plan in mind for all those services. The only thing that matters to Muslims now is that they do not need to pay any money to perform the Hajj." A woman said, "As you said, they shall be happy. You should be happy about it rather than criticize the gesture." The man said, "It was not merely a gesture though. It is a statement which has to be carried off by everyone and has to be obeyed." His friend replied, "I see no problem in that. I'm not sure why you have a problem with it." The man replied, "There is a problem with it. It is not logical and not sustainable in the long run." The woman replied, "You do not know that. No one knows whether it is sustainable in the future. Only God knows the future. So you have to stop looking further than you should. It is a good gesture." His friend added, "It will help people. That is its long-term objective, and that is what you should care about." The man got angry and replied, "It will help people by preventing other people from getting their salaries. They will be like they are doing it for free." His friend said, "It is better to do those things for free if it is to serve a purpose that is aligned with what God wanted." The angry man said, "Are you saying that having everyone work for free is something that God commanded?" His friend said, "I'm not saying that. I'm only saying that it would be more beneficial for those people who work in providing services for pilgrims to be doing it voluntarily, if they are doing it for God alone, like they are supposed to." The woman replied, "If I had a hotel there, I would rent it out for free during the pilgrimage season. It is a noble cause." The angry man said, "I would not work during that time. I would rather get my payment for the services I provide. Otherwise, I could only get exploited." His friend said, "Why would you get exploited?" The man said, "If I were driving a car for free, those whom I drive would ask me to go for long distances because it is free. If I had a hotel, they would stay more nights because it is free. If I had a restaurant, they would eat more because it is free. Some people cannot be trusted." The woman said, "Are you even considering that you will be dealing with pilgrims? They wouldn't be there to exploit you. They would be there to pray and worship God." His friend also said, "That is correct. You are looking at it from the opposite perspective. from the capitalist perspective. No one will exploit anyone if they are all there to perform a duty. The woman said, "Of course, if you drive a car, you will be asked to drive the pilgrims wherever they want. If you have a restaurant, consider yourself giving food to the poor. If you have a hotel, consider yourself giving shelter to the homeless." God's commandments should be thought of as a business deal. His friend added, "The gesture is to make people act in righteousness." The man replied, "We can act in righteousness even when we are getting paid for the services we provide." His friend said, "And you can't do anything for free, even if it were only for a specific time period? This is absurd." The man said, "If people wanted to do something for free, they will do it for free, but it would strip people of their free will if you had made it compulsory upon people to act in that way." The woman said, "Even for some days, even for a little while?" The man replied, "It does not matter how long. What if people stop working during that time because they do not want to do things for free?" The woman said, "Then they are not better than anyone else. Maybe they should move out of the whole country and into another where they would not have to abide by certain regulations. You are making it very difficult for no purpose. You claim to be speaking for those people who would work for free and be exploited, yet you are taking your own perspective as a basis. If people are working to gain honor and blessings from God, then they would not mind doing everything for free." His friend said, "There are many times in which people would do things for free only because they can. There is nothing wrong with making such a statement, making the whole practice compulsory upon people who attend to the pilgrims' needs. Maybe there is a plan for them as well, to pay them from the country's treasury. Opposing and criticizing the statement will do no good at this time." The man said, "Can't see how you are only going to accept it without thinking about it." His friend said, "I can't see why you are defending the cause of those who would rather get paid. You don't even work there. If people have a problem with such a statement, they would be the ones who voice out their concerns, not you." Immediately after he said that, the broadcast started again. In it, the servant appeared as though he was running towards the microphone and therefore was out of breath. The servant said, "It has come to my attention." Then he took a calming breath and repeated what he said. "It has come to my attention that some people would be in opposition to what was just declared in regards to the Hajj proceedings and services being free of charge during the Hajj season." He looked towards the camera and said, "Again, I tell you that these things are done in hope that they would be done for God. Those who provide services to pilgrims, those who come visiting God's holy house, would be doing it to have God's good pleasure with them. They are doing it for God. You cannot do something for God and for money. Therefore, it will become free of charge, and no one will charge any person any money during the Hajj season." Then he looks to the paper in front of him and adds, "That being said, the Hajj season itself is a number of days. It does not even span a whole month. Those who work can consider that they have taken an unpaid leave if they do not want to consider that they're doing it for God's cause." Then he smiled and looked towards the camera again and said, "That also being said, whoever refrains from going to work on those days would be forfeiting a great blessing from God, being able to do good for people in service of God." such a great blessing should not be forsaken, especially if done for money. Jesus said, "You cannot worship God and money. You can only have a single master." The man burst out, "Did he just quote Jesus?" The servant continued, "Again, you should only do the work in God's holy house if you are a servant of God, a firm believer of God. Therefore, those who do not follow through with this commandment will be easily replaced with people who would do everything in their life for free, so long as it would please God." Then he moves to the left to leave the scene, but first he said, "Those who do not want to be in God's service will be replaced with others who would follow through for free." Then he descends from the podium and leaves the scene, to which the broadcast gets terminated. The man said, "This only means that anyone who does not obey your command will be deposed and replaced. This is atrocious." His friend said, "You are missing the point of everything that he is saying. Stop focusing on criticism and finding gaps in what he is saying to try to attack him." The man said, "Are you saying that everything he said is okay?" His friend said, "I'm saying that you are trying to find issues with him. You are trying to incriminate him by nitpicking on whatever he says. So what if he quotes Jesus? What if he says that people who do not want to serve God would be replaced? What wrong is there in what he was saying?" The man said, "He quoted Jesus when he was speaking about pilgrimage, while Jesus said nothing about pilgrimage." His friend said, "He quoted Jesus about money. Do not take it out of context. A person who serves God should not do it for money. It shall naturally be done free of charge. This is why taking money from pilgrims is deemed wrong, and this is why he wanted to change it." The man said, "That doesn't mean that he can order that people be replaced if they do not follow his commandments." His friend said, "God does not need them. He says so in the Quran." The man said, "But this would cause a lot of people to lose their jobs." The woman said, "If it is based on reason and to be good to people and to do charity and to feed pilgrims and to house the homeless, they chose not to do it, then maybe you're right. Because of their fear of losing their jobs, they would do it." His friend said, "But that also doesn't count. They should be doing it based upon their belief. Otherwise, it wouldn't be counted towards a good deed because they were compelled." The man said, "Compelled and forced to abide by the law, even if the law is righteous." His friend replied, "But it will ensure that many Muslims who have no money would be able to go to pilgrimage." When the man could not find a way to criticize the commandment, he turned towards trying to make it seem like it goes against the religious tradition itself. The man said, "It would also compel them to do it, right? Originally, they are not compelled. Only those who have the means are required to do it." His friend said, "They would not be compelled. Some people cannot travel, even if everything is free, so they are not forced to do it. In other words, it doesn't change God's law regarding Hajj. It only makes it possible for those who thought it impossible." There were many other debates about the same topic going on between other groups of people. Some thought it to be a good idea and a good step towards making religious rights more accessible, while others thought it to be outrageous, basing their arguments around different perspectives from people who would choose to abide by the laws to maintain the status quo. There were communists who claimed that such a change would cause dramatic changes within the different levels of society. The wealthy will not be able to grow their wealth. The poor will be able to move into the country freely, and some would even choose to remain in the country after the Hajj season. There were others who protested, like the man mentioned, and claimed that their businesses will lose huge amounts of money because of this change. There were Christians among those who claimed that such a change needs to be met with resistance. There were also Jews who said that this change would cause further issues and instability among the Arab nations. Every type of person from every religious tradition and every ideology gave their comments about this change, making it a topic where many groups of people found it within their very right to criticize. It was as though freedom of speech only takes place when the matter does not involve you or your group. Every person, even those who do not believe in the obligation to visit God's holy house, found it compulsory to comment and provide their opinions about the matter. In the end, those who took it to be a harmful change were those who spoke about wealth and money. Those who took it to be against the teachings of Islam only took the teachings of Islam as a pretense and a shield behind which they hid their real intentions. And those who were not even Muslim only spoke about the issue from the perspective of joy and happiness, that something is happening among those they themselves opposed and considered an enemy. At the end, only those who were true servants of God accepted the change and considered it to be more akin to righteousness and piety.